Oh, because the Whity Show, the Whity Show, the Whity Show.
Whity Show?
The Whity Show, the Whity Show.
Whity Show?
I'm the review who loves to say son of a bitch. The same review who hates most Nintendo shit. I'm the one who calls games what they are. I even own the 360 and hate Gears of War. Guy who spends his money on games, fucking cards. Just a funny guy who became a YouTube star.
The story of Pursuit Force is basically you're a cop commander, and yes, I'm sorry I don't know the name, nor do I give a shit if I know the name, because I don't really care about this guy. But anyway, you play as a cop commander taking down gangs. You take down all these different gangs because they all have their own name and they have to be all cool, and most of them look like retards or rejects from Warriors. But overall, this is your mission. Hunt these motherfuckers down and take them down. It's not really a hard story, and that's basically the main story there.
The story gives you very much of a Mad Max feel. I'm pretty sure it takes place in the future, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, you're just like this crazy-ass jumping off of cars, jumping off of buildings, you know, just shoot 'em up cop guy. Of course, it's not realistic, but, you know, it's awesome as hell. Going into more about the story, well, I would say it's kind of average in a way. I mean, but it gets the job done, you know. It's not bad, it's not good, you know, it's just there. The cutscenes were very interesting in the game because there was only a couple CGI scenes. The other cutscenes in the game were very action-packed, and they would like give you a cutscene, open up at a mission.
And the voice acting, well, it's not the worst I heard. You get this kind of corny feeling from it overall, but it worked. It did its job. You're some random cop commander, and you don't really give a shit. Just take down the gangs and fuck them up. That's basically the story. Pursuit Force graphics aren't actually too bad. They remind me of a lower end PS2 game, but they get the job done. The motion of the characters and everything works out pretty well, and you do get this kind of futuristic feeling of it. I'm not talking about like Star Wars futuristic. I'm talking about like, I don't know, maybe 20 years in the future or some bullshit like that. But overall, it looks pretty damn good for a PSP game.
The character design of Pursuit Force, it's anything you expect. You know, the cops now are wearing these like Saturday morning cartoon jumpsuits. The gangs look a lot like how I would say maybe the enemies in Infamous. The cars though that are really cool, like it gives you that vibe of you know, custom games, as if one game will have spikes on the car or another will have bulletproof, you know, metal or something like that. It just it gives you that vibe of gangs that you would actually see. I mean, overall the design's pretty good, you know, especially for a PSP game. Now we move on to the best part of Pursuit Force, which is the gameplay. This personally, for me, is the best part. Okay, so let's get into the main part of the game, the chases. Obviously it's called Pursuit Force. Chases in the game are probably the main part. Most of them are all on road with cars and bikes and jeeps and trucks, but the way how you can interact with each of them is really cool. Like, let's say you're driving in a car, and then there's another one beside you. You just lock on that son of a bitch, and you just jack them. You can like, you'll be hanging on the front of the grill, and like cars going 100 miles an hour. You peek up, you shoot them, you get down. You know, and just all sorts of really cool moves you can do with these cars. Motorbikes, you can do the same thing. You'll be leaning on the side of the bike. I'm talking about leaning on the side of the bike and actually shooting the guy or punching the shit out of them. Helicopters, the same thing. I'm pretty sure you can jack helicopters and do shit like that. Boats are really cool too, you know, talking about like going 100 miles an hour, jacking boats and shit. They are like sort of quick time event. It's like between a shooter and a quick time event. So you're behind cover, then you peek up, you shoot them, you jack the car, and you never stop. There's no momentum stopping in this game. It's always at 100 miles an hour, just, you know, straight up your alley, you know, guys up your ass everywhere, and it's just insane and chaotic, and I love it.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree on the chaotic part. Usually when a game is a little too chaotic, I'm not really into it. But in this type of game where basically you're always in this kind of chase, like take Need for Speed, but add that you can actually jump from car to car and actually beat the shit out of the guy inside, where Need for Speed you just race. So this game has this feeling of you're like this superhero or whatever you want to call him, and he can just jump and beat the shit out of the characters. And it's really a blast to play as long as you're doing that and not on foot. This is where the game kind of loses its Footing, oh yes, a punt. With the on foot, you basically have hand-to-hand combat and you have shooting. It's nothing special. It's no Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row. It's basically kind of like if you played Wheelman, except that this is actually fun to play in terms of racing, whereas Wheelman is not. But the shooting and the hand-to-hand, really nothing special, and they definitely could have used more work. But if you're looking for a game where you want to just drive, crash into other cars, hijack them, this is the game for you, really. Has a lot of aspects that Wheelman did. So you're wondering, can I actually like this? Can the guy who gave Wheelman less than a 4 actually like this game? Well, to your surprise, I actually did like this game. This is what I want Wheelman to be. Yes, the on foot is really no better than Wheelman, sure, but the actual jumping car to car is actually fun, and the timing missions aren't a pain in the ass. So overall, this game is just a fun game to pick up. So overall, I had a lot of fun with the game. It is kind of short, be there maybe 6-7 hours, but, you know, I think you'll have a blast playing it, so check it out. It's cheap now.
Well, I do have to agree with Whitey on every single aspect. I had a lot of fun playing this game. It's definitely one of the best handheld games I've played, you know, out there between DS and PSP. Consider picking this up. It's like he said, it's what Wheelman should have been. It is an older game than Wheelman, but even if Wheelman just, you know, took shit from it, it would have been better. Definitely recommend picking this up. It's $20, $30. I'm not completely sure what the price is. But I definitely consider picking this up. It's definitely one of the best handheld games I've ever played. You're going to have a lot of fun with this one if you're a fan of Mad Max, if you're a fan of Crank, if you're a fan of, you know, Live Free or Die Hard. You're going to love this. It's just a really fun game to sit back and play.
PS2 game and sometime... What the fuck? What am I supposed to say? Lower end PS2 game? Pursuit Force... fuck. Fuck, hold on.